Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. To start off with, please remember to check the link below to the new upcoming V5 book called Sabbat the Schism, a book that allows you to play as Sabbat and Elders. It's coming out very soon, and we're all very excited to read it. Additionally, also check the link to Mark, one of our players, who unfortunately will not be joining us tonight. He provides all the music very graciously, and yeah, go check out some of his stuff. He's really talented. Additionally, if you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing and commenting, interacting with the video. That always helps. At least leaving a like always helps. And if you're watching this on Twitch, remember to follow us if you want to follow this crazy adventure. Tonight we'll be joined by Alex, who will be playing Larry, Oit, who will be playing Abel, Amalia, who will be playing Serena, and Tony, who will be playing Jack. And I hope you will enjoy. Welcome back. We rejoin our pack as they make their way back to their haven. As they arrive, there seems to be sort of a small column of smoke coming from a few, quite a ways away from the haven. And Cecil seems to not be at home. So,
Oh, we should really
deducing
follow.
correctly, go on.
Well, I think those are the smoke signals where we should get going to.
Yeah, I suppose.
Is Larry back?
He eventually makes it, and essentially he lands on the rooftop of the mansion, but within earshot.
Yeah. Larry, can you hear me?
Yes.
I point to Abel. There's your animalism teacher.
Larry looks at Abel, confused.
Why didn't you come to me? I can teach you how to speak to your friends.
I didn't know you possessed it. It's all right.
No offense taken. Just
Will you be my teacher?
of course.
Thank you.
Right, now that this is sorted, and you don't have any reason to pick fights with Artur because He's a stupid fledgling, okay? He doesn't know how shit works. He's gonna do stupid shit like that, but he has powerful connections, you know. But
Being a child of
Did he
Archbishop.
get slammed?
he did.
Good.
He did. It was very satisfying.
Roll conscious.
I'm not rolling
Not
anything.
me.
But yeah, well, do you all make your way to the column of smoke?
Yes, only Serena's gonna
Yep.
go into the house and change her long skirt, which hides her tail,
Mm-hmm.
to a pair of pants.
Okay.
Which will probably need a new hole for the tail.
I mean, pretty easy to just problem solve.
Right.
But yeah, eventually, the rest of you who were not privy to Serena's most recent modification see Serena walking out not wearing shoes, showing her elongated, sort of canine looking feet, and sporting a very thin and quite sharp looking tail.
If someone's staring, Serena's like, "What? Did you not suddenly like have thoughts? Why am I wearing long skirts?"
I actually didn't care why you were. But nice tail, I suppose.
Yeah, it's gonna hold things.
Useful,
And also,
you see.
it can also poke out eyes.
Also useful.
Right then, shall we? Are you familiar with the fire dance ceremony? And
Not
Serena.
really.
Right. So let us make our way towards the smoke column. As you can see, it the fire dance is a rite, is a ritual that the Sabbat do in order to conquer our fear of the fire. It is
I see.
so we face the rhetoric and master it. And it also allows us to use fire as a weapon because we're not afraid of it against others who are afraid. Often used before war parties, sieges. But it is, and obviously it is usually done during the summer solstice.
We are a bit late on that, but sure.
Yes. Well, so after hyping ourselves up, we're going to be jumping through the bonfire. And once we finish the ceremony, we're going to be far less afraid of the fire. Quite a while.
I see. Jake just silently removes his jacket, his necktie, and his fucking shirt.
And as you do this while making your way to the column of smoke, eventually you get close enough to see that Cecil has essentially, somewhat deep in the woods. He's essentially cleared out an area, and dug, essentially a sort of pit, and lit a very large bonfire at the center. And as you approach, Cecil's basically, once in a while walking around the fire, and he tosses some branches in, and every time one of the branches lands in, you see sparks flying up, and the fire roars and grows. And it seems kind of odd watching him do this, because unlike his usual demeanor, it seems like he's more active, more almost more savage while he's doing it.
We're back. It was a misunderstanding. Arturo decided to throw our gargoyle under the bus. Due to personal dislike.
Well, the young ones think they can outsmart the elders.
Yes.
I'm glad you've shown him otherwise. I hope.
Yes, I mean, we've heard a quite satisfying crack of the body when the Archbishop taught him what it cost to lie to her face.
Good.
But the question remains, who did kill those gang members?
Probably he did.
If I were to guess, yes. The pettiness of gang members is notorious.
That's why you instill discipline from the fucking get-go.
Indeed. How's Leo doing, by the way?
Oh, he's more manageable.
Good.
We
Feel
talked about
free-
installing. We talked about installing security cameras. He's not fond of installing them in your room, Ductus.
Probably a
feel
good idea.
free to send him back should he require more discipline.
I shall.
Oh, by the way, Jack did mention that electricity and the security will be installed, but we need to stay for a couple nights elsewhere while that's being done.
A
Or a couple
topic
days.
for another day. And Cecil sort of turns to the fire and, with sort of a mesmerized stare, just says, "We have other matters to attend to first."
Of course. Serena, do we have a drum, or shall I provide?
Cecil just gestures to a shape sort of hidden in the shadows against a tree, and it looks like essentially a drum that looks very old and worn.
Okay. Serena doesn't like pick out of the bag the speaker. But she looks chastised enough. And then she looks at them. Who's going to be playing it? It's performance, by the way, for it.
Cecil looks to the others.
I'm not really musically able. I can form a couple of arms of shadows to play it by, but you know.
Abel, are you capable of doing this?
I am.
Good. I'll swap in to replace you once you are to take the leap. And Cecil simply reaches over, pulls the drum, and allows it to set near a spot where you can sit.
Okay. I am to play the drum. Or
The pack
No.
priest will guide us through this.
Yes. Set a rhythm, Abel.
I will set it.
Start slow, and as we dance around the fire, speed up.
Yeah. I'll start with like a steady twang, 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 twang.
Serena goes in first around the fire, just like moving to the beat. She's probably still a bit, like in a good mood after diablerizing the fledgling, so it's easy for her to catch into the mm, vibe. And she starts spinning and dancing around the fire. Uh, and expects the others to join.
Yeah. Slowly, Cecil, as he paces around the fire at the same rhythm as Serena, eventually his pacing turns into this odd, almost flailing, almost as if he's slowly letting go of inhibitions and just allowing whatever instinct demands. He just allows it to happen.
I'll tap into my ritualistic, wits, so to say,
Mm-hmm.
and just let it carry me.
And again, Jack steps in, and after he picks up the pace to match the others, it's almost as if Jack's motion stopped representing Jack and represents something else. And does Larry join in?
Larry narrows his eyes, looks at it. Can I make an occult check?
What would you like
Just
to
get
check
a sense
for?
of it. Just get a sense of what is going on. Because I know I heard Serena describing it, but I want to make it sense to myself because I have never seen it in my life.
Okay. Well, you can roll a quick, let's say, intercult here. And let's see if you can manage to sort of internalize what this general.
Or successes.
Mm-hmm. And as you watch your three pack mates go around the fire, you sort of see them at first dancing at a specific pattern around the fire, but you notice that as they dance, it's almost like they're less afraid of approaching the fire. Almost like they're almost daring themselves to run their hands through the flames, which, just looking at how large this bonfire is, it already makes you a bit nervous being where you are, and they are way closer than you and seem to be having the time of their lives almost.
Larry will just step from one feet to another, unsure of what to do, cross his arms and look at everybody else confused.
I will try. While currently I've been trying to match the movements of the rest of the pack, but now as Abel is seeing the certain um,
Hesitation?
doubt in or hesitation in Larry's behavior, he will slowly bring the beat down to match Larry's movements and look at him in a suggestive way. Kind of go on. Don't be afraid. Find your rhythm, so to say.
Larry
What?
will glance at Abel, look at his arms playing the drums, and sort of turning his head a little bit away to not face the fire directly, make little itsy bitsy steps towards the other packmate and start doing some awkward dance movements.
And
Good.
go on.
As I see that Larry is also getting into the groove, I will once again try to kind of find a cohesion between the movements and keep the beat flowing, so to say. And perhaps, since having been part of cults before, maybe add a vocal part of some sort of hums or
Mhm.
something like that.
I was just about to say that when Abel turned on the speed, that's where Serena would have added like humming and chanting.
Yeah. And as both of you start making these noises and Larry steps in and tries to begin matching the rhythm, Cecil also joins in on the chanting, and it's almost as if while you're all saying different things, while you're all making different sounds, for some ungodly reason, it all matches up in a weird, almost unnatural way, as if something's building up in the group. And Larry, you begin slowly realizing or slowly feeling that your awkwardness at first, while you still feel it, you watch your body almost move by itself. It's almost like it's not you doing this anymore. You're just allowing something to happen, and all of you move around the fire, and eventually, Cecil seems to take a few jumps almost to prepare, and at some point he does a jump and a flip into the fire and comes out the other side, and the sparks just fly into one side, and he continues to move around the bonfire.
Serena will go next.
Yep.
So,
And roll courage, please.
yeah. Oh yeah. I fear nothing.
Yeah, you feel that impulse inside you tell you to not do this, and when you do it, it almost feels like you're experiencing the effects of adrenaline again, something you haven't felt since your embrace.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you jump
2,
through.
3,
Hmm?
5. I need to do dexterity plus athletics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's difficulty 6. So I have 3 successes, and one of them is a 10, and I do a flip.
Okay.
A double flip with my feet because actually I don't. It's actually a lower difficulty for me because of my feet,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, because it's a jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically see Serena sort of get into the rhythm of it, and then a couple of jumps, and with one jump, she doesn't just jump through the flames, she does sort of a flip where for just a moment her face is like almost touching the fire, and she comes out the other side with a few less sparks through it, but just the act of staring the fire down by itself is impressive given the sort of mix of anxiety and excitement all of you are feeling. And the beating of the drum continues, and all of you continue moving around the fire.
Jack would probably go next.
Mm-hmm.
Courage first, yes?
Yeah, courage, and then dex and athletics.
Courage roll difficulty 5.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, I managed.
Yeah. Again, you feel this instinct not to do this, and as soon as you do it, it's almost like you're experiencing adrenaline again. And it's sort of that exhilarating feeling of I just narrowly escaped death. Only it's before you've done it, which is odd, given that you're about to jump into fire. You shouldn't be feeling like this. And now,
Can I
dex and
willpower on Dex
athletics,
Athletics?
if you wish. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll will myself to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that's one success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and one from willpower.
Hmm?
Is it
And one from
difficulty 6?
willpower. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
It's
so
way less fucking flary, but I still jump.
you take a few jumps during the motion around the fire, and at some point you didn't expect yourself to jump at that point, but you did, and you fly through the flames, and sparks follow you almost. And you notice that even after you pass the flames, there's sort of this bit of smoke on your clothes that sort of fizzles out just by the motion. And it feels like you just jumped through death itself and came out the other side. And the motion continues, and it seems to be Larry's turn.
Larry will take way longer than others to brace himself.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of gulp.
And as he's like hesitating, Serena's going to turn her chanting into something like more assuring, more like you can do it. Like this
Jack would
emotional.
also tune in with his abyss chanting because, like, he kind of trained Larry to make it safer space with this chanting.
And as both of you do this, Serena, I want you to make a quick. Hold on. Because shit's gonna start happening without you realizing, or like without you willing it to happen, because that's how creepy this shit gets. So I need you to
Don't
roll.
like where ST is pulling.
So, Serena, I need you to roll charisma empathy. And you don't need to make a roll, Jack. What's going to happen with you is its own thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Larry, as Serena begins changing her song, you suddenly feel this burst of almost energy, like a desire to just get on with the dangerous activity, sort of like jumping off a plane to have fun skydiving, but the act of jumping, you just want to like get it over with. And as Jack begins to add in some of his chanting, you almost feel like the light of the fire is the only thing that exists as the shadows around the fire start closing in.
Courage roll.
Yes. And your courage roll is going to be difficult. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
0.
No. Ones
Oh.
and tens don't count on virtue rolls. So you, after a few stomps, you basically start jumping, and I need you to roll dex and athletics. And let me check just one detail about your character sheet. And your difficulty is going to be at a -3 difficulty because you have wings and flight. So you can actually make the jump easier. Yep. So basically, as you open your wings, you let your wing almost run through the flames once before you jump, and you sort of do this almost somersault over. And as you land, it's almost like the earth under everyone's feet shakes a little, given your weight. And the feeling is almost exhilarating. It's basically the closest thing you've had to feeling alive in a very long time. Actually, in your case, since you remember. And as all of this is going down, Cecil does one more jump, and as he goes through the fire, he lands, and while continuing his motion, he moves up to Abel and ushers him into the dance while taking the drum and starting to sound it out himself.
While Abel is joining and like entering the trance, Serena's going to do another somersault, but this time backwards over the flame.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to roll courage again, or just athletics?
Nope, no courage. Actually, roll courage, but this time difficulty instead of 5 is going to be 4.
Okay.
Yep. And this time, while the voice inside you is almost not wanting to do this, a part of it suddenly feels like you want to do this more. Like you desperately want to go through that fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like a very show-offy jump. Look at it.
Yeah. And Serena jumps through the fire, and as she's about to land, she sort of whips her tail into the embers just very momentarily and throws a few sparks into the air, and everyone sort of gets this feeling of danger, hyping themselves up even more. And the drums start speeding up a little. And who's going next?
Abel has been, while he's dancing, has also been removing some of the more loose clothing that he has on, just not to get his coat caught on fire or something.
Mm-hmm.
But as he has been getting closer to the fire with each circle around it, I guess it's now time to go through it.
Mm-hmm. So roll courage. And I will send you a quick message. Damn! That's 2 10s. Okay. Yeah, you feel...
They don't count.
I know, but like you feel an inkling of that fear of fire before you just push it to the back of your mind for a moment. And roll to jump. Okay. And as you start making the jump, you hear sort of an echo in your mind. And the voice inside you says, "We're closer together than you might think, Abel." And as you jump through the fire, as you all see Abel pass through the fire, the embers that follow him sort of have this almost purplish hue to them. And bits of the fire, for a few moments, sort of spurt out as black flames before going back to normal.
I just wanted to add that while I'm jumping through it, I also caress the fire with a hand,
Mm-hmm.
and as if shaking somebody's hand, perhaps.
Yeah. And yeah, the flames almost follow your hand, and again, it's that weird purplish hue, almost turning the flames pitch black, that follows Abel. And the drumming starts speeding up even more. Cecil even adds like a few, in between beats to sort of add a bit more hype. And then as he does this, with his other hand, he chucks one branch into the fire from a nearby pile, and he hands branches to whoever passes by to toss them into the fire, to make the fire bigger and allow you to face your fears a bit more.
Serena passes Cecil. She grabs a few branches and adds more.
Mm-hmm.
But waits for the two others to make their jumps before doing it. But you can see her already like doing somersaults and flipping. Like she's preparing herself for the next jump.
And Jack will gather his courage again.
Mm-hmm. And that is, yeah. You feel that fear, but once again, it's sort of contaminated fear. It's not just fear, it's almost excitement for you to go through and experience that thrill again.
And without willpower this time.
Let's fucking go.
Oh,
and that's
my
2
fucking
ones. That's fine.
8 to 7 though.
That's just no successes, which is okay. So basically, you go through the fire, and as you jump through, your foot sort of lands in one of the logs, and when you come out of it, the back of your leg has suffered some, like it's sort of caught on fire. You can roll fortitude if you have it. If you don't, then you're essentially taking a single point of ag from the flames sort of touching you. And as you dance, it's odd. Usually this would be like an utterly painful experience. It would be agonizing. For you, it's thrilling that you got through there and didn't fucking go up in flames, all of you. Just your leg. And you just continue moving, even though, like, all rationality in your mind tells you, you should stop this. This is fucking insane. And as the dance goes on, who jumps next?
Larry will go next.
Mm-hmm. And you gather your courage. You may make the roll.
And roll.
Yeah, yeah.
Good day.
It's the same thing I described. It's that fear that you feel also as an impulse to go through the flames. Would you care to describe this next jump?
Larry sort of leaps like a dolphin right into the fire, and just before his arms touch it, he swings his wings, and the air motion makes him do a flip, and just almost touching the flames rising up with his back, he lands on the other side sort of like an Olympic gymnast.
Yeah, and again, yes, like an Olympic gymnast, but as Larry lands, it's almost like the ground shakes by itself and sparks fly up from the fire. Um,
I
and
am
as yep, and as Larry passes, uh, Cecil continues like handing out branches for you to feed the fire, and he continues hyping all of you up to continue jumping through. And I see Serena's going next.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
this next courage roll is at difficulty 3 now.
yeah. I mean, you saw me roll 8, 2, 9, 8.
Yeah, I know, I know. But at this point, it's almost like there's no fear. There's more excitement. Almost like you've jumped out of a plane 5, 6, 7 times. You feel fucking immortal at this point. You want to do
Yeah.
this again.
Yeah. So what Serena does, she does this kind of jump, sort of like, uh, so she swings out with her legs so that she basically is barreling through the air and the fire. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
so,
hmm?
so yeah, so she basically just like kicks out and then just like goes like with her legs to like using them to basically to swing even more through the air. She goes like barreling through the fire, like with her side, like spinning, and then lands over and continues dancing.
Okay. And as you jump through, um, it's almost as if by instinct, everyone who's chanting chants louder now that people go through the fire, which is something that didn't happen in the previous jumps. You start chanting louder, and the rhythm almost disappears, or the sound of the drum almost fuses with the sound of the flames around you. And as Serena lands on the other side, Cecil picks the drum up. He basically kicks all the branches into the fire, and the flames roar and rise to a size you would most likely compare to a burning car almost. And you continue dancing around it. And Cecil eventually takes the drum, and while carrying the drum, he jumps through the flames, and he continues playing the drum, and it's almost like the flames almost avoid him at this point. And all of you, like without exception, you all feel fucking immortal in the face of the fire for a few moments. Every time. And as this is going on, I need everyone to roll stamina. No fortitude, just stamina.
-1.
Bruh. I have at least one probably.
So as the dance continues, eventually, Larry, as he dances around the fire, he sort of starts stumbling to the side, and eventually, using one of his wings to sort of brace the fall, just lets himself fall to the ground. Um, and despite looking tired as hell, he does not breathe a single bit. It's almost like it's not Larry that's gotten tired. It's whatever this instinct is that's pulling him away from the fire. He exhausted it. And now Larry's just resting there, sort of in a almost delirious, tired gaze towards the sky. And the rest of you continue. A few more jumps happen, and soon after, Jack does the same. You know, he braces for a fall, but it's almost like the exhaustion takes over you, Jack, and you just let yourself sort of roll onto the dirt. And you feel as if you should be huffing almost, but there's no need for you. And after that, Cecil falls to the dirt the same way. Then Abel and Serena continue, and each of them do a couple more jumps. And at some point, at about the same time, they sort of roll to the floor. And all of you basically just stare at the sky as the flames, you realize by now, have almost died down to a small campfire.
I will pop my head up and take a quick look around. Make sure there's nobody fucking watching and filming strange dudes.
Yes, because
Like
the
our
strange dudes dancing would be the weird thing, not the gigantic statue doing it.
Yeah.
You see no one.
Okay. That's good.
Jack's just lying like kind of T-pose on the ground, just laughing as a fucking maniac.
Serena's just like lying and staring at the sky and feeling very, very happy, pleased, joyful. She's not laughing, but she's vibing.
How is Abel feeling?
Abel feels motivated and full of ideas, actually.
And as Cecil sort of pushes himself up, you sort of see the pieces of skin that usually make up his face sort of slipping to the side, and the creature inside sort of grins and allows itself to sort of stretch outside of the skin. As he stands up, allows the drum to rest on the dirt, and walks up to the fire, and using his bare foot just stomps the fire to nothing. And then he turns to all of you and says, I believe raising shovel heads soon would be prudent. Let's take Santa Monica by storm.
Home for the summer, eh? Not anymore.
And Cecil at some point, after stomping out the fire.
Oh, right. I was speaking.
Yeah, you were muted. After stomping out the fire, Cecil sort of takes a couple of steps, and he sort of shakes off the shape he was, and just allows himself to stretch into what he actually looks like. And it's almost like his arms divide into each. So he's got these 4 very gangly arms, and his chest opens up to essentially show 2 more arms coming out of his stomach, and the ribs almost functioning as a second jaw. His face splits open into this misshapen mouth with rows of teeth. And you see that his legs split to sort of a bug-like stance, and his back sort of unfolds these spikes that seem to sort of function almost as hands, as if they were large fingers. And after he stretches into this shape, he braces himself on the ground and says, I think I'll take flight for the rest of the night. I need to see the world for how small it is before we burn that Malkavian to ashes.
Have a good flight then.
And
Oh, by the way, did I tell you?
Cleared for takeoff.
By the way, did I tell you? I have now horrid form.
Cecil sort of glances back and says, "You've been practicing.
I have.
I look forward to seeing it in practice." And as he says that, it's almost like these two wings burst out of his back, in spurts of blood. And with one flap, Cecil just flies off.
And also, by the way, if any of you guys were just looking horrified at Cecil, you will see that Serena was just like, she was
Yes,
just like
please.
swooning. She was swooning.
And yeah, all of you are left at the foot of this stomped out bonfire.
Isn't this fun? This is a fun team building event.
Yeah, this was fire.
Yeah,
I
it was
know,
some
it's not-
fucking fire.
Really, such a blazing event, wasn't it?
Larry will step aside,
Ignites
out
kind of
his
spark of life
phone.
in you.
take out his phone and make a call to Isaac.
Yeah. The phone
I'll check
rings.
Isaac answered at this point because I wrote him like at the beginning of the evening.
The phone rings and rings, and at some point, you hear a click, and you hear sound of wind rushing past the phone, and then you hear Isaac's voice in the middle of this, sputter of wind. Hello.
It is Larry.
Ah, yes.
What
How can I help you?
happened to Chuck?
I'm dealing with it. Don't worry.
How much time do I have to wait?
About a week, maybe 2. I've taught him a lesson. He needs to recover.
Okay.
Try not to stomp his head in. He's young and stupid. Give him time. He'll learn.
Do you think so?
Well, given the fact that he's been thoroughly educated, I think so, yes.
All right. Thanks. Call me when something changes.
Actually, can you pass the phone to your packmate, Jack, please?
Yes.
I turn the phone away from my face, look at Jack, and just scream, "Drunk!
Come
What?
here.
Yep.
Yeah, and as Larry hands you the phone, once again, it's sort of jarring seeing Larry handle normal things. Sort of like seeing Shaq handle bottles of water and
Yep.
seeing how shockingly small they are compared to him. With Larry, it's that, but even more so. And he just hands you the phone, holding it with like 3 fingers, and you hold it with like a full hand. Again, very jarring. Then you bring the phone to your ear. And what do you
Alan?
say? Yeah.
How's life been treating you?
You sound excited. Busy?
Oh yeah. Not really. Not really. Just excited.
Good. I might have found a way to help you with your situation.
Go on.
It involves, I better not speak it over the phone, but it's not a pleasant experience. I can, however, help you.
Let's meet tonight or later.
Tonight I'll be quite busy, but perhaps at some point in a few days.
Sounds fine.
Good. And for the specifics of this, I might need Abel's help, so bring him along.
Let him know.
Good. I'll speak to you then.
See ya.
Goodbye. And
Bye.
you, for a second, you hear like a bit of fiddling with the phone as if he thinks he's turned it off. And then you hear a very faint, a few faint noises. And do you just like hand the phone back, or are you trying to listen?
Nah, I'll listen.
Yeah. Okay. Then perception and alertness. Let me check something in your sheet, because
Careful would probably not apply.
well, it may actually. Let me check something first.
Mhm.
Your specialty, yeah, it would apply because you got enough
Okay.
dots on this one thing. So yes, it would apply. Yeah.
Get over here.
So basically, you just hear very faintly over the phone Isaac's voice say, "Right, you don't get off this boat until you reach the shore, okay? Now row." And then you hear sort of a thunk as if he's kicking something. And a bit of a sobbing sound from another voice somewhere. Male voice, from what you can tell, but it's hard to discern anything. And again, you hear this persistent wind noise. And soon after, you just hear Isaac sort of walking. Like you can tell he's walking from the sound of his clothes rubbing against the microphone. And eventually it's almost like he accidentally turns the phone off. Or the call off.
I give Larry back his phone. Abel, we might have to visit my well-esteemed cousin soon. This one.
Serena finally rolls off, like, to her stomach from staring at the sky and gets up. Looking at everyone. Well,
It was fun.
shall we go back in?
I guess.
Should definitely do this more often, shouldn't we?
Not with my fucking dexterity.
Well, we should definitely do it again before the actual Santa Monica siege. Like a night before.
I suppose. We could.
Just really quickly, Jack. How expensive were the pants you're wearing? Well, let's just say they're not as expensive as they once were, as the back of your leg, along with the burns on your skin, you now have like shreds of the pants you once wore with ashes at the tips.
Yep. Not the most expensive ones. I didn't expect to go to Victoria tonight, so yeah.
And yeah, as you make your way back to the haven, the night seems to be coming to an end as you start seeing the one side of the sky start becoming a bit clearer, a bit lighter. You all head to the haven in preparation for some rest. And eventually, as you reach your rooms, you hear Cecil crawling through one of the windows after landing on the roof. And after a few moments where you hear these very non-rhythmic stepping sounds of multiple appendages moving down the hallway, eventually the sound morphs and turns into just regular footsteps as Cecil makes his way to the basement. And that is where we will end tonight's session. Remember to check the links below to check out the new Sabbat book that's coming out soon. Check out the music from our esteemed player Mark, who has graciously provided his music for our episodes here. And remember to check out our YouTube channel or our Twitch channel, depending on where you're watching this. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. All that interaction really helps us out. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and have a good night.
Yeah.